Welcome everybody to the Lowrider Grind Show. On the show we are going to discuss what is a lowrider. Is it a sport? Is it a hobby? How do we get into lowriding? Some of the things we'll talk about. There are several different types of lowriders. Yep. There are the street cars, there are the show cars, and then there's the hopping situation. So, and there's many levels and both of those, all those right there. So we'll figure out where you fit into the niche as far as what you want to do in lowriding. Now, age also has a lot to do with what type of vehicle that you want to get involved in. If you don't have a driver's license, so obviously you're not going to be into the automobile yet, you're going to be into the bicycles. And yeah, we do have bicycles that are lowriders. The 2 wheels and the three wheels, they are just exploding on the scene with creativity on these bicycles. Man, these builders are just way over what you can imagine, what they can imagine. So if you're an older type of cat, you can remember the cars from the 30s when you were a young child. So we've got those that are called the bombs that are from the 30s, 40s, and some of the 50s. So depending on your age bracket and what you grew up in, you will tend to go to the bomb cars, bomb trucks. If you're a younger generation, you might want to go into the G-bodies and then some of the Impalas that we have, trucks that we lowered. So there's a lot of different avenues you can take to build a lowrider depending on your age and what you're gravitating to. But we're going to have a lot of fun discovering what the world of lowriding is all about. On this segment, we're going to talk about 2 topics. One of the topics that we're going to talk about is, who am I? Who is this cat? Why is he talking to us? So we'll discuss a little bit about who I am and what did I do in this particular world of lowriding. And the other topic, which is going to be a lot of fun, which is one of the ingredients that makes a lowrider. That is going to be a good topic. So the 2 topics that we're going to talk about is who am I and what is one of those key ingredients to a lowrider. Okay, let's start with me. My name is Joseph Mendes, and I began lowriding with the mini trucks back in 1985, and then around 1988 I switched on over to the Euros. That's when lowriding kind of like took a dip and other cars came up to the forefront. Mini trucks were everywhere. After that, I started freelancing as a writer for Orly's Lowriding magazine. So you guys have been around a while. Orly's been here many years ago. So I got an opportunity to write for Orly's. After that, I created this little show called the Lowrider Nationals, which ran for me, it ran for about a decade. And I sold it and it ran for another decade. But that was a great little show. It was called the Lowrider Nationals. After that, I was contacted by 2 brothers that wanted me to go in with them to create a lowrider magazine, which I said, wow, that's great. So we developed this magazine called Lowrider Scene Magazine, which ran for over a decade, which was really fun. They were doing this before with videos, but Lowrider Scene now had the division for the print magazine. So I got involved in that, the 3 of us, and we launched that. It did very well. After that, I did some, I ran a car club for a while. That was interesting. I had a lot of fun, about 20 members, all had the same kind of vehicle, Impala. So it was a unique opportunity for me to do, and had a great time with a lot of the people that I got involved in. I built a car because of the club, and the car did well. The car did extremely well. I had 2 bills, and both of the bills became centerfold cover cars. They were picked up by the American Lowrider magazines, which you guys all know, and they also went overseas to the Japanese print magazine as well. So it did well. The car, with this notoriety, jumped off into being an ad car for Coker Tires and, among other things, other corporations. So it did well. I got invited to the SEMA show. I got involved to the NACE show. NACE is basically a mini SEMA. It was held at Mandalay Bay, and when I was contacted to see if I wanted to bring my car over there, I said, yeah, I have only one stipulation, that I'm going to set this car up the way we set it up for lowrider competition. You know, you put all your barricades up, your lighting, your wheels are off. It was something they're not totally used to. So when we finally got there, there was only 2 people representing the cars. That was Jeff Foose and myself. So a lot of people got to see for the first time what a lowrider really is and how they really set up. And we picked up a lot of sponsors at that particular show, so it was a fun show, nice. And there was a little lull, but I've been building cars, or a car. I have several cars, but I'm building a car right now, and I've been building that one for, oh my gosh, 12 years. It's a 1961 Impala convertible. It should be coming out in about maybe 2 years at the most, or at the least. So it'll represent my company and myself and what I like to do. And that'll be an interesting thing. While I'm building this car, my family and I decided to do an online clothing and apparel shop. So we did online clothing, which we called it the Lowrider Grind. That's what you see, the Lowrider Grind. The Lowrider Grind has many facets. One is the clothing and apparel line, accessories, air fresheners, keychains, shirts. We just are popping off the women's side for clothing, so that's exciting. We're working with some great artists out there. Gabriel Frias, if you're listening, yeah, we're using your designs. So he's well into the lowrider field, so he gives us good direction as to what we need as far as artwork is concerned. So while the website is up, we're also not just focusing on clothing and apparel, but we're also giving back to the community, because we developed a thing called the Lowrider of the Month. And the Lowrider of the Month basically features a car that we go out there, or I go out there and shoot and find out a little bit about the guy and what he does and why he does it. And some of them are heart-wrenching stories, and some of them are good stories, but you get to know who your people are in this particular game of the world of lowriding. And man, it's amazing. It's already becoming a great, just great to connect with the people again. So Lowrider of the Month is what we have. We're jumping off at the podcast. This is the first podcast, so we're going to do podcasting. We're going to do interviews of people in the game and how they got involved and what do they see as far as the future for the lowriders. So that's exciting for us right there. So now that you know a little bit about me and what I do, and we're going to go off to the next topic, which is the ingredient, one of the ingredients that makes lowriding what it is, and it marks you as a lowrider right off the bat. So I can't wait to get into that. That's the next segment that we're going to get ready to do right now. So give me a few minutes, let me set that up, and then we're going to jump right into it. The Lowrider Grind. Key ingredient, one of the key ingredients to what makes or marks a lowrider. Let's go check it out, man. Let's do this thing. The smooth or diamond cut, they have other cuts as well. You can engrave the backing. This one here is powder coated, but you can paint it, you can silver leaf it, you can do artwork in it on these dishes. And this one here is just regular chrome, how people like to have it on chrome. And you can even change these right here, the knockoffs. These are straight ear knockoffs. You can go domes, you can go straight ears, you can go three crossbars, you can go glass, you can go non-glass, you can go hex nuts like these right here, just a hex nut with nothing on there. So there's many different combinations of knockoffs, many different combinations of colors and spokes, and these are just what makes a lowrider. I think this is one of the key ingredients to identify what a lowrider is. If you see any of these, or even a 14 wheel is also made. They're made for the bigger cars. You know, you have LTDs, or you have the big giant T-Birds. You'd probably would want, or Cadillacs. Sometimes you might want to run a 14-inch rim, simply because of all the enforcing you do to the frames and all the batteries that you may be using. So you may want to jump up to a 14. But traditionally, we would run these 13 by 7s, and the tire size would be a 155 80 by 13. And the stripes can either be skinny or they can be a little bit bigger, depending on what your taste is. But this is basically one of the key identifiers of what a lowrider is. You're not going to see very many other vehicles using the wire wheel to signify what type of vehicle they're running. These are classified as lowrider wire wheels. And again, this is the fun part about it. This is one key ingredient that I think distinguishes us from other lowrider, other cultures in the automotive section. But here you go, classic example of what you can do. Many different combinations of what you can do with the outer hub and the inner hub, and of course the knockoff and the spokes. And so this is, and it's funny because we stay with the wire wheel. The wire wheel became a symbol out of all the other type of cars that are out there that use different type of alloys, and they change up the alloy design. We stuck with the design. Now these are 72 spokes. There are some that are 100 spokes. Straight lace. These are crossed, but you can run a straight lace 100 spoke wheel as well. Those are very, very popular. But these are the two brands that are really prominent today. A long time ago there used to be Mondera. This is a Mondera knockoff. They had a Mondera wheel as well. This one is Supreme wire wheel. They were big at one time, but all these little companies eventually lost out to these two major corporations, which is Dayton and Zenith. And there was also other wire wheel companies that were in existence. Some of them are still in existence, and they are doing very, very well. But right now, I think these were the two wheels that were most desirable back in the days when wire wheel became fashionable, and they're still very, very on the top ranks of everyone that's building a lowrider. Is one of these two wheels is one of they would require to have on their lowriders, just to set them apart. Now there's other ones that I think are really interesting, which are also old school, that maybe on the future episodes we'll talk about. But True Classics are one of them. True Spokes is another one, but those maybe we'll talk about them a little bit later. But these two are the main characters that people really sought and wanted to have on their lowriders. So there you go, the two most famous wheels, the signifier of who a lowrider is and what a lowrider is. Anyway, I'm so glad you came by and stopped by the Lowrider Grind to check out our episode, and we're gonna have a lot of more episodes, a lot of more fun topics. So let me get back to the main stage, and we'll get back to you there. We'll close out the show there. Welcome back to our main stage. We just talked about key ingredient number one, the wire wheel, and all the configurations that can go to making the wire wheel change, painting, engraving, and changing the knockoffs. Now episode 2 is going to be key ingredient number 2. Now key ingredient number 2, if you have both of these, you're an automatically lowrider. So stay tuned to our next podcast so you'll figure out what key ingredient number 2 is. This is Joseph Mendes signing out for the Lowrider Grind. Ride low and be kind to others. Peace out. See you on our next episode. Later.